I want to show you what I use in my kitchen every single day. I love going into a Crate & Barrel or a Williams-Sonoma and checking out all their newest gadgets and tools and try to figure out, oh, do I need this? Do I want this? How is this going to help me? And what I find is I go back to using the same tools that I already have in my kitchen. Hey everyone, I'm Flo. Dude is behind the camera, and I want to share with you the tools that I use every single day. I love using my wooden spoon to cook with. It is a tried and true tool over the years, and I know there are a lot of plastic ones that you can use to stir, but I do prefer the wooden one. Sometimes the wood does crack because of the heat. That's my own fault for leaving it maybe in a pot too long and it expands the wood and so it cracks. But these are really inexpensive. They're maybe about $2, so I am happy to replace it when I need to. But overall, I can keep these for years and years without them splitting, so long as I take good care of them. And I also just don't like cooking with plastic if I don't have to. This is a silicone spatula, not a rubber one. So I find that I do have rubber ones that will essentially melt if you're cooking on high heat. And this silicone one I've had for, I don't know, almost 20 years. It hasn't broken down and it's heat resistant. So I love using this. A whisk is also essential for cooking and whisking. I sometimes try to use chopsticks and it doesn't do as good a job. I also have a silicone covered one so that it doesn't scratch up my bowls, but either one is fine. Having a good whisk will make cooking easier. I really love my Microplane graders. I also have a box grater, but I find I only use that large side, and it's great for grating the large pieces, but the other sides of the box grater are smaller, and I find it's really, really hard to clean. My go-to are the Microplane graders. I have two different sizes, and they're just easier to clean and easier to use. They're super sharp. I really love them. I also recommend really good tongs. These are long enough, they grip, it's easy to use. I have another pair of tongs that are just ridiculous. Now these came with something, I can't remember. It was part of a set, and it is, okay, see, you can see that these parts have melted in the heat of cooking. Picking up things with this very flexible paddles are just ridiculous. You can't pick anything up, and they were so incredibly frustrating to use. So I prefer these a million times over these ones.
Yeah, these also are great for barbecuing, but I definitely have to invest in a longer pair even.
Yeah, but these are perfect for the kitchen. This is an amazing vegetable peeler. I've had this for probably almost 20 years. It peels back and forth, and I've tried a whole bunch of different ones, and I always go back to this one. There's nothing better or sharper than this one. I have never had to sharpen this, and it cleans really well. It's just easy to use. And that's what you want in the kitchen. Easy to use tools so that they're not frustrating to use. I love this garlic press. It just does what it's supposed to do. I once took a cooking class and the chef asked us how we chop up our garlic. Do you use a garlic press? Do you chop it up with a knife? Do you smash it? Just asked all these different ways. And then we would put up our hands for whichever way he asked. And in the end, he's like, it doesn't matter. However you crush your garlic and works for you, just go with it. Now this is something new that I've added to my basic tools. I never thought I would need something like this. I always just pick up food with my knife as I throw it into a pot. But I find that maybe my knives do dull because I do that, and it's not safe. So one of my viewers was so kind, he sent this to me. And I use it all the time now. If I have onions that I'm scooping up to throw into a pot or anything that I'm cutting up, it's just easier to scoop and toss. It also has all these measurements on there. So if you're a pastry person and you make your own pastry or you have to cut according to different sizes, it has all the measurements here on the scraper. So you don't have to use a ruler on the side. Now these guys are my spice jars and I love them. People ask about them all the time because I use them all the time in my videos. And I like them because they are airtight, they're easy to use, they're pretty, and I do store them in a drawer so that the light doesn't ruin my spices. And I think I bought like 36 of them at a time. What I was finding was that when you buy one of those pre-made spice racks with all the spices, half of them I don't even use. So I just picked up a whole bunch of little jars and I filled them with my favorite spices so that I know I would use them. This is an Acacia wood spice box, and it's divided into two sections. People ask about it all the time because I store my salt in it and I use it in almost every single video. I have coarse kosher salt on this side and sea salt on this side, and I love it. It's perfect for reaching for salt when I need it and very easy to use. People also ask a lot about my pepper grinder, and I didn't realize that it is some like baller pepper grinder until I looked recently at who it's made by, and it's Banton by Vic Firth. He actually makes drumsticks, like for playing drums. He patented this mechanism on pepper grinders. It's amazing, and I've had this for almost 20 years and it's never failed me. I cannot tell you how many oil bottles I've gone through to find one that doesn't leak. This one, believe it or not, doesn't leak. It's amazing. It has this little flap and you just pour and it doesn't, when I say it doesn't leak, I mean it doesn't like dribble off the side, and I love it. I cannot stress enough how important it is to use a sharp knife. Dull knives are like the bane of my existence. Trying to cut through anything. I think the hardest thing is probably tomatoes, and I will use a serrated knife for tomatoes. But to peel apples or to core them, a great paring knife is essential. And once you use a really sharp knife, there's no going back. It's just safer, it's easier to use, and it just makes cutting more efficient. So a good paring knife is essential. I have also been favoring my Santoku knife. It is a little bit thinner, I think, than my chef's knife. It has these grooves here that is supposed to prevent food from sticking onto the side as you're chopping. And it's really light and easy to hold. It's also slightly curved so that you can rock back and forth, but I just find it is just so much easier to cut through than my regular chef's knife. And part of the reason why is probably, I think Dude has been sharpening this one more than the other. That's my guess.
Totally untrue.
Which leads to this next item, which is a knife sharpener. And it's just this little device that we pull the knife through. There is a ceramic groove and a carbide groove, and we just use the ceramic side because we hone our knives quite regularly. The carbide side is a more aggressive treatment for like super dull knives, and I just don't trust, well, we don't trust ourselves to use that side, so I should just probably get my knives professionally sharpened more often. Let me encourage you to take inventory of the tools that you have, get rid of the ones that you don't use or don't need, upgrade the ones that will make your kitchen and your cooking more efficient and more fun. If cooking is more enjoyable, you are going to be less frustrated and enjoy cooking more at home. Till next time, be simple, ordinary, and joyful.